with
all those
live. My God, I have a waveform. Hello. I see we have a friend joining us today. Thank you for being here when we start this completely unscheduled and uh, completely unhinged day we've got for us today. Oh, I'm gonna see if we actually are live, if people can hear me. For whatever reason, I got signed out of my chat from my streaming service. Don't know what the fuck's up with that. And I'm going to use my phone. There's going to be some echo here in a split second. So, can I actually hear myself? I can. Awesome. So the stream is live. That's good. Stream is actually live. Yes. Hello. Welcome. It is a weird day. And by that I mean I've been up since midnight because that's how weird my sleep schedule is. More like one. Anyways. Voila! I'm tiny. And I figured we'd start off with something kind of funny. Since we all know Elon Musk is the meme lord of the internet, as he spent a meme amount of money for a meme based portion of the internet or whatever. He did a Doge. Who knows? So, we're going to watch a few seconds of the Starship flight test. Hopefully, Washington Post sees fit not to orbital bombardment my channel for this, and then we will start. You can see here the final of what we're going to be watching is 404 spaceship not found. See right there. Right, 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 right there. Nope, nope. Right there, right there. It says 404 spaceship not found. See, it's funny. I can do the meme too, guys. Let's go about a minute back. We'll watch a minute of this thing. It seems to be tumbling, right? So it seems to kind of be spinning. And I don't know about you, but my rocket ships only spin in Kerbal Space Program. In real life, they go up and down.
As of right now, we are awaiting stage separation.
Stage separation. Okay.
Starship should separate from the Super Heavy booster.
It should. It won't.
Yeah, Kate, right now it looks like we saw the start of the flip, but obviously we're seeing from the ground cameras the entire Starship stack continuing to rotate. We should have had separation by now. Obviously, this does not appear to be a nominal situation.
This is not a nominal situation.
But I do want to remind everyone that everything after clearing the tower was icing on the cake.
404, spaceship not found. Yeah, blow it up.
As you saw, as we promised, an exciting end.
Yeah. Fucking make a whole bunch of trash someone else has to clean up. Depending on how high was that when it blew up? That is not the button I wanted to press. Okay, so this is what, 18 kilometers up at 155. 38 kilometers up, traveling at about 17 kilometers per hour, 1700 kilometers per hour. I don't think that is orbital velocity. What is orbital velocity again? Orbital velocity. Checking on my phone. It is now added to the heap of trash. Exactly. Orbital velocity of Earth. Yeah, they were about halfway to orbital velocity of Earth. So orbital velocities make it 30 kilometers a second to get into orbit around Earth. So, or per minute, per hour. Sorry, 30 kilometers per hour. Is that right? Whatever, it doesn't matter. They didn't make it. That's the important thing. They didn't make it. And that's what we're trying to talk about here today. So, we're not talking about that. I'm doing catch up because I've been gone for weeks and it was due to my brain not being a good brain. So, we're just going to kind of skim through some stuff, hit a little bit of boom, 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 boom. So, first things first. Several weeks ago, you may have noticed, about 16 days ago, Trump was arrested. Yay! What does this actually mean? Not much. So he went to a place in New York City. He got sat down. He pled not guilty. It's okay. Whatever. There's a bunch of shit, right? The indictment against Donald Trump is this document. It lays out 34 counts of something or other. It's falsifying business records, 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 business records that have been falsified, falsifying the business records, and that's it. So they went for 34 counts of falsifying business records. Why did the person in charge do this? Who knows? Who knows? But what we do know, what we can know, is that Trump probably did a lot more things than what they're actually indicting him for. Also, he looks like a turnip here. Like, look at his face. He just looks like a turnip. Right here. Just turnipy face. Anyway, sorry. I didn't want to talk about the actual indictment because that's pretty cut and forward. And I'm sure there's been legal channels that have covered that far more successfully than I ever could. What I want to talk about is Trump's reaction to this and the reaction from his family about this. So let's listen to 20 seconds of Trump. That'll be fun. Right, guys?
Numbers. Not the same place that I know, not the same place that you know. And this is where we are right now. I have a Trump-hating judge with a Trump-hating wife and family whose daughter worked for Kamala Harris and now receives money from the Biden-Harris campaign, and a lot of it.
Biden-Harris and a lot of it. So Trump is claiming that the judge hates him, which is, this is to be expected from this sack of garbage, like this precariously balanced pudding cup on the spine of a human being. So like it's, did I pull it up? Did I pull this up? Is this the next one? No. Okay. Damn it. Let me try and find. This is Trump Jr. Judge. Right. Okay, here we go. No, nope, that's not the one I wanted. Nope. Anyways, okay, I can't pull it up right now. I'm having trouble finding it. It's whatever. Muddy waters and the old indirect. Yeah, exactly. But, like Trump has been pretty vocal about the judge being anti-Trump. That's kind of, tampering with the court in some way. Will he face charges over that? No, of course not. He's rich. What does it matter? Nothing that this is going to do is going to have any effect on him running for presidential election or any of it. It doesn't matter. He could be arrested for murder and be put in jail for his lifetime, and he would still run for president from jail, and it wouldn't matter because this is America, and that's how it works. I'm a little down today about this whole situation, in case you can't tell. The actions of people around Trump, I find, are also abjectly terrifying because Trump's family, his son, and specifically, I saw this posted somewhere, I don't remember where, was posting the judge's like personal details online, like his address or their address, their family members, that sort of thing. And if that's not like actively trying to incite violence against someone, then, well, we don't arrest anyone for sedition, so it doesn't really matter now, does it? All I have to say to that. Trump, we should all know that Trump is a dumbass. Like, clearly. He doesn't take responsibility for any of his actions because I don't think he cares. Like, I don't think Trump has much thoughts over just just feeling like it's Trump. Told not. Yeah, here we go. There we go. Why not? We'll watch this a little bit. We'll look at this. Keith Olborn is, I don't know. I don't know who this is. I don't really care. This is a decent thing to say, I think. Trump has already violated Judge Merchan's warnings, told not to incite violence or civil unrest, has done so within 6 hours. He has attacked the DA, his wife, the judge, and his wife. The judge and his wife, I should say. Yeah. I don't think that... oh, here we go, with AOC. Publicly intimidating a judge. Yep. I don't think that anything is going to come of this. Like, just because I'm kind of disillusioned with how rich people are treated in this country. That's just kind of how I feel. Let's turn away from terrible courses of legality to terrible courses of the world. 1 second. Can I help you? Well, come here. No, if you want to scream, you can be on screen. Sure. The cat wants to be. I don't know. He's asking for something. Come here. One second. Come here. As I said, we were getting the cat. Come on. There we go. Look at this little bastard. Look at him. He's so fat. He's so fat. It's like me. Big old fat cat. I know the background blender is trying to remove him from existence, but we can have Kitty. He's a squirmy one. He's a squirmy one. The stream, meet Obi. Obi, meet stream. Ah, for fuck's sake. Are you kidding me? 1 second. I got some cables I ran over. Oh, okay. Apologies for all of that. So, there we are. From Barry Weiss and the FP.com. Carolyn was told that puberty blockers would relieve her child's psychological distress, and that's not what happened. We have this particular story pulled up, so I will pull back one level here. And this is Casey, or Alex, in this case, who is the person that this story we're about to read is about. I felt bullied, mother of child treated at transgender center speaks out. I want you to remember that this story that we're about to come over is not true. Or was not reported correctly and has been politicized to get a specific reaction. So let's go through one of the classic transition was wrong stories that we will get so many of, and I've already been getting so many of. And I apologize for my face. I am this pale. She was told medical intervention would help relieve her 14-year-old's psychological distress. That is not what happened. Since this person... 1 sec here. Okay, this person wants to be referred to as they, she. So I will be referring to them as they or she. However, I will not be gendering these I will not be misgendering this poor person. When she was 14-year-old, Carolyn's daughter got a pharmaceutical implant in their arm that was supposed to help relieve their psychological distress. It was a puberty blocker called Suprelin, and it would continually release a drug for about the next 2 years that would further arrest the sexual development, aka what hormones do to you when you're going through puberty, Carolyn, 43, had been quite queasy about approving this, but she was assured by the psychologist at the Washington University Transgender Center at St. Louis Children's Hospital. That's not Washington State. This is a university named after Washington in St. Louis, Missouri? Missouri. That this was what her daughter needed, that it was the standard treatment for young patients experiencing discomfort with their sex. This is true. Prepubescent or very slightly pubescent or even fully pubescent people, in order to ease gender dysphoria or to give time for therapy and for other checks, take puberty blockers. This is a normal thing that happens, and it is safe and has been studied for decades. Instead of providing relief, Carolyn told the Free Press her daughter experienced a devastating decline in their mental and physical health after this intervention. Among the side effects of Suprelin, according to a handout from the Transgender Center, are mood changes and weight changes. The manufacturer's website also lists depression, including rare reports of suicidal ideation and attempt. Alex soon experienced all of these within a semester. Alex went from all A's and B's to a report card dotted with D's and F's. Many days she found it impossible to get out of bed. She missed so much school that it triggered an official meeting about her truancy that included a circuit court judge. She gained more than 30 pounds. Most alarmingly, during one therapy session about 7 months after she started the blocker, she told the center's psychologist that she was having suicidal thoughts. She recommended she be immediately checked into the psychiatric ward at Children's Hospital. When she came out, she was taking several drugs for depression and anxiety. So this particular paragraph, right here, in correlation with this one, is fairly obviously there to provide a mask of medical truth to the story that they are telling, which is not a truth or not a true story, but rather, at best, a misremembering by Carolyn, who is the person who's being talked to, Casey/Alex, mother. Carolyn felt desperate and helpless, and she'd had enough. Well, imagine how your kid feels. In June of 2022, she wrote an email to the clinic demanding the immediate removal of the puberty blocker. The doctors in charge disagreed. Because you might imagine that the doctors who had been talking to Casey/aka Alex might have a better idea of what is the correct treatment plan in this case. This is one more case of parents thinking they know better than doctors. This is something that we see all the time in vaccine-hesitant areas. The Suprelin is still in Alex's arm. Do you see how they fucking, fearmonger this bullshit? Excuse me. The whistleblower. For many months, Carolyn, we are withholding her last name for family privacy, has been deeply frustrated that her child was put on a powerful pharmaceutical and what happened to her subsequently. I felt bullied, she said of her Now, I want you to remember, right here, the "I felt bullied" quote is how the parent is reacting to the choices that her teenage daughter is making. Do you think, to everyone who's listening, I'm assuming you're over teenagerhood. If not, welcome to teenage years. They suck. It gets better when you get in your 20s and 30s. Trust me. Unless the world is on fire. Can't help you with that one, but I'm trying. In your teenage years, your parents may very well feel like they don't know you anymore because you're changing. I know for certain that my parents didn't particularly feel great about my teenage years and how I went from being whatever I was before to who I am now. I say whatever I was before because, you know, I have amnesia from 13 before. I don't know. And I want you to remember that the I felt bullied, mother of child treated at transgender center speaks out is the title. The I felt bullied. Anyways, then on Feb 9th, the Free Press published. Oh, by the way, this story, this paper here, the Free Press, is not a good place to get news or anything like this. The Witch Trials of J.K. Rowling is one of these like they host this. It's one of their tabs on their fucking everything is these Witch Trials of J.K. Rowling, so you know exactly the type of people we're dealing with here. On February 9th, the Free Press. Yes, yeah. I think it might. I'm not entirely certain, Rasp, whether or not the Missouri require an autism screening for or other strange hoops to get into this. But generally speaking, unless you live in a completely unregulated part of the world, especially in America, healthcare for trans individuals is pretty strictly regulated and does take a pretty significant amount of effort to get into, especially if you're under the age of 18. Like, it is not a simple process. Let's just put it this way. That's another deceiving thing, is the earlier in this seemed to be a sudden thing at 14 is how they're portraying this. Now, I will say, but once we get through this, we are going to read this story from the perspective of the person who is being talked about here. The 16-year-old who is being talked about here, we will read their story. So I'm just going to give you guys this story before we go through theirs. On Feb 9th, the Free Press, this website of shit, published a story by Jamie Reed, a case manager at the center, about her 4 years working. Now, this is a case manager. This is somebody who just helps people get the things that they want to be done. They are not a doctor. They have no, unless they have like schooling in it. Outside of that, a case manager does not have medical experience or contribute anything medically. You know what I mean? It is simply like, I don't mean this to people who are case managers, because they do important work when they're actually not being assholes. Like people who are honest and actually want the best for the people they're helping. Case managers are incredibly important, obviously. This person, probably not. She gave us... Stella, stop your barking. I'm streaming. Sorry. It's a busy day. Animals are up and moving. Where were we at? Okay. She gave a shocking account of the treatments young people with gender dysphoria received. Treatments she described as morally and medically appalling. What were those treatments? Would you tell us what they were? Is it this story you're talking about? I thought I was saving trans kids. Now I'm blowing the whistle. Okay, let's quickly scoop through here. And what does she claim? Do you have any... Oh, no. Did they literally just... No! They're doing the fucking... Is this the Tavistock Clinic? No, is this it? Oh, no, it is. The cast... Oh, no. They're pulling from the Tavistock Clinic. Of course they are. Okay, so you've got one... Okay, whatever. Anyways, the point is these people are probably lying, right? The reaction was explosive. Missouri Attorney General Andrew Bailey, who had given Reed whistleblower protection in advance of going public, announced an investigation in the center, so did the Republican Senator Josh Hawley. Oh boy, Josh Hawley. What an abject piece of shit this motherfucker is. Look at this guy. He's a cunt. One of these Yale assholes. In December 2015, Hawley supported exemptions for Missouri businesses and religious groups from participating in same-sex ... marriage ceremonies. I'm sure that there are some other choice words omitted there. Bailey called for a moratorium. Carolyn read the story when her sister and her cynicism. Blah, 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 blah. When I read it, I feel like this is what happened to me. I feel validated. Of course, a lying whistleblowing, lady comes out probably with like a lot of money behind her or something. Among the article, failed to note that several parents quoted are public advocates of youth transition. Journalist Jesse Signal reported on what was left out of the story, including the revelation that one mother who praised the center in the newspaper is a founder of a youth transition support organization. Not only does that organization centers up, but mother lobby that's established. Carolyn has never spoken publicly about her daughter or her family's ordeal. When she read the Post-Dispatch article about the satisfied parents, she felt she had to speak out about her experiences. Now remember, these are not experiences that her daughter has. These are experiences that she has. Okay, here we go. Shifting identity. Recently spoke to Alex via Google Hangout with Carolyn sitting in. Alex is charming, intelligent, and thoughtful. She enjoys the arts, participating in a range of musical extracurriculars. Due to the puberty blocker, she seems younger than 16, with a hairless voice and the voice of a young teen boy. Alex expressed no discomfort with his sex as a child, but when she turned 13, she said she discovered through friends online that transgenderism was a thing, in quotes. Right, that's how they said that. Because we all know that 13-year-olds or 16-year-olds say transgenderism and not just trans people exist. Holy crap, you could do that? Soon she declared she was gender fluid. Alex explains, this means that my gender changed based on the day. It got to the point where I was never feeling masculine or like a boy. After about 6 months of being gender fluid, Alex says, I decided that I was a fully transgender girl. Like I wanted to present as a girl and I wanted people to see me as a girl. So I started to socially transition. I was going by a different name and using she, her pronouns. That lasted for a few more months until she says, I started to learn more kind of in between. I didn't identify as a girl as much, but I did not see myself as a boy, so I identified as non-binary, which is what I am today. She explains being non-binary means she is neither sex, and to go along with that, she changed her name again to something as gender neutral as, quote-unquote, Casey, and began using they-them pronouns because Carolyn calls Casey her son for the blah, 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 blah. Yeah, okay. You put that here. You put that here at almost, what is this, halfway? Oh, Christ, this goes on forever. Jesus fuck, that goes, I'm not reading all of this. We're done. We're done reading this. I'm going to go read what Alex says. So, here we are. We're back to the person who this is all about, Alex, at Sleepy October. Wonderful username. I have reinstalled Twitter to respond to this story and make sure my voice is fully heard. I am Casey. My real name is Alex, but my mom decided it would be best to hide it for anonymity. But this is my story, not hers. This is not the Free Press's story. About a week ago, my mom contacted Emily Yoff without my knowledge and told her what was supposed to be our story. She expressed her frustration with the transgender clinic at Washington University, many of which are false perceptions that my mom has about the doctors and clinic. I learned this article through my mom over the phone when she asked if it was okay that the Free Press published the article. I said that I wanted to read it first. When I read the draft, I was disgusted with what the reporter and my mother had made my experience out to be. Upon interviewing Emily Yoff myself, I was told that I had no say in whether or not the article was published. I asked if my consent was required to publish the article, and the reporter told me that's not how these things work. After she had edited the article and published it, I had not found this out until 20 hours later. I was extremely frustrated. The article makes it out that my mother had no say in the implant of the Suprelin. This is completely false. My mother claims that she was pressured into saying yes by the doctors. A big issue they point out is that the doctors quoted suicide statistics in transgender adolescents. I do not deny that these statistics were quoted, but I also sustain that the doctors didn't say that I was at substantial risk of this. The article mentions my grades dropped from A's, B's to D's and F's in a semester. This is a completely exaggerated statement. My grades were on a steady decline since 2020 due to unrelated mental health concerns. Speaking of mental health, the article claims that my mental health issues can be attributed to the Suprelin implant. However, my personal experience shows that this is not the case. Since COVID-19, my mental health has been declining, and it was already an issue. God, can we all fucking believe that? I was in counseling with the University of Washington Transgender Care Center, in which I was treated amazingly by my counselor. She was a friend to me and offered a great amount of support. This was taken away when my mom revoked consent for the Suprelin. And after she revoked consent, my father and I, along with the university, attempted to set up a meeting with my mom. She did not attend this meeting, claiming that she was not contacted. Later, she admitted that she was. Alex is now currently seeking out a lawyer on how to get advice to go about continuing their transition. So what did we learn? What did we learn about this? That's right. Right-wing newspapers are not to be trusted. That's basically it. Once again, the right-wing media's insatiable appetite for people who have detransitioned or had bad experiences with medical transition or with their counselors or whatever. They slurp this up and eat it like it is nothing else but the ambrosia of gods. And what is it? It's all lies. Of course it is. All right. On to the next segment. Because we're just fucking going for it, one after another, after another, after another. You may be aware of Atlanta, Georgia. If you're not, I wouldn't go there. Not my cup of tea. But for the people who live there, there is something called Cop City happening. Let's see. Here is a map we will go to. There is Atlanta, Georgia. Right there. See it? It's a big, sprawling metropolitan area in the north of Georgia. Right? Now this is a whole bunch of forests. Right? Seems to be forest. It's like a lake there. Something there. No idea what it is. This forested area, full of trails, is where they want to place Cop City. This is what it looks like, by the way. This lush undergrowth, this habitat for who knows how many species. Probably a great place for people to go walk. Stop Cop City, or Defend Atlanta Forest, is a decentralized movement in Atlanta whose goal is to stop construction of the Atlantic Public Safety Training Center, otherwise known as Cop City. Cop City is going to be a huge, it is going to be a massive area for police training across the country. And they're doing it on the remains of a prison. Why not? Oh, and here we go. Here's what we're going to be talking about a little bit. Manuel Esteban Paez Terán, also known as Tortuguita. Tortuguita? Pardon me. I'm terrible. Was a Venezuelan non binary environmental activist and eco anarchist who was shot and killed by Georgia State Patrol. January 18th, 2023. Yep. The police are shooting people who don't want them to build a training facility in the middle of one of the only forested places near to Atlanta. Let's see. The Muskogee peoples have inhabited the land of South River Forest since time immemorial. A majority of the community was forcibly displaced from the land during the U.S. government's ethnic cleansing programs, better known as the Trail of Tears. Their name for this land was Wilauni, translatable as Brown Water Place. Sounds delightful. Before logging of the land after their displacement, the forest was dominated by an oak hickory forest. Let's see. The land was purchased from the federal government to use as a prisoner of war camp and an Atlanta prison farm. That's right, until 1995, this was a prison farm, which is just another lovely development of our world. Anyways, so in 2020, as part of the Black Lives Matter protest movement sprung up in response to the murder of George Floyd, they started talking about this stuff right here. Fatal shootings. Manuel Terán, also known as Tortuguita? Is it Tortuguita? Or is it Tortue or Tortui? Anyways, whatever the other one said. I forget what they said. Two independent journalists had previously Oh, God. Got a sneeze coming. Maybe. Hate it. Hate it. Had previously interviewed Terán. Other protesters in Terán's family have questioned whether Terán fired first, pointing to the lack of body camera footage evidence of the shooting and calling for an independent investigation. GBI, or Georgia's Bureau of Investigation, forensic ballistic analysis determined that the projectile recovered from the officer's wound matched the handgun found in Terán's possession. The GBI has said that there is no body cam footage of the shooting because the officers near the incident did not have cameras. They really should. GSP patrol officers do not wear body cameras. There is footage of the aftermath because the officers from other agencies have captured that video. They recovered the handgun, which was determined to be purchased legally by Terán in September 2020. Other protesters in Terán's family dispute that Terán fired the gun. Let's pull up that article by The Guardian. On February 9th, police released the body cam footage of the aftermath, wherein an officer is heard saying, "You fucked your own officer up." This comment has led to believe that the officer had been injured by friendly fire rather than Terán. In March, Terán's family released the results of an independent autopsy revealing that he was shot 14 times while sitting cross-legged on the ground with their hands raised in the air. There he is. What a nice looking lad. Looks like someone actively trying to be like a good person. I just get the feeling that he was a neat guy just from looking at him. So his mom talked to the kid every day on WhatsApp. Didn't hear back from him. Wound out that he had been shot a bunch of times, protests. Of course, the cops are going to pin it on him, say that he did it, say that he was the one who shot first. They just want us all dead. They want to see the planet burn. Police are just there to protect property and capital. It's got the segment. All right. You have probably heard of an incredibly large kerfuffle in Tennessee. Well, that kerfuffle was over some protesting that had happened inside the House. Now, I'm going to play this from the Associated Press, but I may very well stop because I don't necessarily want to hear a bunch of reporting on it. I want to hear the people who are involved speak.
Out of order. We're voting on House Resolution 63.
This,
All
by the
those
way,
in favor, vote aye when the...
So, by the way, just to give you a heads up, let's see, this lady right here, this fellow right here with the nice fro, and I don't see the other individual here in front, are two of the three, the other guy is probably off camera at the moment, House members from Tennessee, in the Tennessee House, that is, not at federal level. It's a state house. Had been protesting against gun violence in wake of one of the more recent shootings. This protest that they did led to this individual, the one with the nice fro, and the other lad being expelled from the House of Representatives in a near unanimous vote by the Tennessee House. Which you might notice, there is a slight shade or hue difference in the skin tones between this lady and this guy, and the other guy who looks a lot more like this one than this one. I wonder why they only kicked out this lad and the guy off camera and not her. That's right, the Tennessee House expelled the two black people because they were being loud. And here is them being... Also, the Republicans referred to this as an insurrection, just so we're all on the same page.
Bell rings. Those opposed, vote no. Has every member voted? Does any member wish to change their vote? Mr. Clerk, take the vote.
Aye, 69, 26 nays.
Having received the concurrence of 2/3 of the members to which the House is entitled in the Constitution of the State of Tennessee, House Resolution 63 is hereby adopted. Without objection, the motion reeks here is tabled. Pursuant to Article 2, Section 12 of the Constitution of the State of Tennessee, I hereby declare Representative Justin J. Pearson of the 86th Representative District expelled from the House of Representatives of the 103rd General Assembly of the State of Tennessee. Next order, Mr. Clerk.
Announcements.
Announcements. Next order, Mr. Clerk.
Roll call.
I guess we are legitimately watching them be expelled.
Roll call.
Mr. Speaker, 89 members present.
Leader Cochran, you're recognized. Leader Lambert, you're recognized.
You may be able to make out that the crowd is shouting, "Shame on you."
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I move the House stand in recess until 5 p.m. on Monday, April 10th, 2023.
So yeah, they expel two of the three House Dems. The two they expel are the black lads. Oh, here we go.
On a in a representation.
Now this man is really good at talking. Listen up.
You are seeking to expel District 86's representation from this House. in a country that was built on a protest. You say to protest is wrong because you spoke out of turn, because you spoke up for people who are marginalized. You spoke up for children who won't ever be able to speak again. You spoke up for parents who don't want to live in fear. You spoke up for Larry Thorne, who was murdered by gun violence. You spoke up for people that we don't want to care about.
Mr. Clerk, take the vote.
Aye, 69, 26 nays.
Having received the concurrence of 2/3 of the general.
We are still determined to speak up and to fight on anyhow. This is undemocratic. This is wrong. This is the perpetuation of patriarchy and white supremacy. This is what we knew we were up against.
Goddamn right. Yeah, goddamn right. Okay. So
we begin with the dramatic fallout
whoa,
after
whoa,
that.
whoa, whoa, whoa! Shut up, ABC News. I don't want to listen to you. I want to listen to this man.
This morning, supporters
No!
of the Capitol welcome.
So here we go. These three are the Tennessee Three, as they're being called. We have what was it? Justin Pearson. I don't remember her name, and Justin Jones over here. This is the other guy that got expelled. So these two men got expelled. The white lady did not. Are we going to hear from them?
So accusing them not in dangerous territory.
He went on to.
No, we're just going to listen to. Okay, we're not going to do that. Continue without supporting C-SPAN. This is.
Lear Lambert, you're recognized.
Thank
the
you, Mr.
C-SPAN.
Speaker. I move to suspend the rules to allow Representative Justin Jones, Representative Gloria Johnson.
Any member of the House, any member of the Senate has a right to dissent from and protest against legislation that they know to be injurious to the people. The inaction of this body when it comes to the crisis of mass shootings is injurious to the people. The obedience of this body to special interest groups like the NRA is injurious to the people. The proliferation of guns that you promote in this state is injurious to the people. And so we had no other choice but to get our dissent marked for the journals.
Cheers.
The next day, I was shocked to get messages. Shocked to get copies of articles that House Speaker Cameron Sexton went on national television to lie to the world and say that what happened in this well was an insurrection. What happened out in those halls was an insurrection. I was shocked to have the Speaker of the House condemn mothers and children and grandmothers and parents and concerned citizens, clergy, lie on them and say that they were violent insurrectionists. And I think that he owes the people of Tennessee an apology. Because at no point was there violence. At no point did we encourage violence. In fact, what we were doing was calling for the end of gun violence that is terrorizing our children day after day after day, and all we offer are moments of silence. It is in that spirit of speaking for my constituents, of being a representative of the people, that I approached this well on last Thursday. Breaking a House rule, but exercising moral obedience to my constitutional responsibility to be a voice for my people, to be a voice for the Tennesseans who you choose not to listen to because of those NRA checks that are so hefty in your campaign funds. There comes a time where people get sick and tired of being sick and tired. And so I came as a representative to this well. And so today, we are brought to here, where members are responding in the most extreme measure, not because of what we did, but because by breaking decorum, we broke the glass of your false power for the world to see. We broke the glass of this chamber that someone called sacred. One of the members on the other side of the aisle was in tears and said, "I've never seen such a breach of this sacred chamber." And I thought to myself, that representative has obviously never read history. Because is it in this chamber, if you walk around this Capitol, You'll see bullet holes when representatives got into conflict. You'll see duels take place on this House floor, debating whether people like me should be treated like equal citizens under law. This is not a temple. This is a place where we're supposed to wrestle for our democracy and wrestle ideas and give voice to 78,000 constituents each of us represents. But for so long, this body, drunk with power, has modeled for the world what we know as nothing less than authoritarianism. And today is the climax of that behavior. That a week after a mass shooting plagued our community, the most direct action this legislative body takes, or should I say my colleagues on the other side of the aisle are taking, is to expel us for speaking about the issues of weapons of war on our streets. We called for you all to ban assault weapons, and you respond with an assault on democracy. That is why the nation is watching you today. And I say to my colleagues on the other side of the aisle that no matter what you vote, you have the votes, but you will not be victorious because there are generations of young people who see what is going on. There are young people that as you try and beat us down, they are rising up to take back this state from the extreme forces that have sought to take away the democratic process, the deliberative process. On last Thursday, when thousands gathered here, tried to silence members from talking about the issue of gun violence because they were afraid that a conversation would remind people that there is complicity of this body in what happened at Covenant Elementary School. The truth be told, colleagues, Covenant Elementary School was not the first mass shooting in Nashville. I represent a part of Nashville. And one of my constituents, who I don't know is in this chamber, Ms. Brooks, lost her son, Akila, in that mass shooting that occurred at the Waffle House in Antioch. And after that massacre, we demanded that this body act, but once again, you turned a blind eye and closed your ears and put your head in the sand and refused to listen to the voice of the people.
So this goes on, and it's really, really good. Justin Jones speaks like I'm listening to history, right? Like, he is magnificent in his speech. It didn't stop him from getting expelled. Of course not. Because everything he just said about the Tennessee House is true. That they are authoritarians, that they are drunk on their own power. And I think the fact that only the two black men got expelled from the House shows a deep-seated racist tendency in these people who hold power. But we have good news. Because they're back. That's right. The Nashville Council unanimously voted to reappoint Justin Jones and the other Justin Pearson back into the Tennessee House. They were voted in, and the Tennessee House doesn't get to kick them out that hard. So, block that nonsense. They were re-sworn in and rejoined the House. And good for them. Because They now have, exactly, they now have an incredibly huge spotlight. They were just elevated to national attention. They're going places, baby. They're going places.
Power to the people. Power to the people. Yeah. We've got news of a resurrection of hope, of a resurrection of justice, of a resurrection of faith, even in Tennessee. And I'm so glad to be fighting with you, to be marching with you, because victory is ours.
Couldn't have said it better myself, brother. Keep it up. Cut the segment. Okay, you might have known that Florida is not a place to go. Don't go to Florida, guys. It's bad for your health. And not just because it's hot. Florida LGBTQ immigrant groups issue travel advisories. A list of organizations urging people not to travel or move to the Sunshine State is growing after Florida Ron DeSantis passed a flurry of laws that these groups said put people they represent at risk. The Florida Immigrant Coalition and Equality Florida, two separate organizations, have followed the National Association for the Advancement of Colored People lead in issuing travel advisories and warnings not to travel to the state. Equality Florida, an LGBTQ advocacy group, said it is warning people that Florida may not be safe. The organization said the reason is the state's anti-LGBTQ laws, restrictions on reproductive health care, and its repeal of gun safety laws, among others. So, first of all, DeSantis has been doing a bunch of really bad immigration laws. As you might have heard, he tends to ship immigrants up to Martha's Vineyard, thinking that that's some sort of epic own, when in fact the people up there tend to be pretty chill and just like take the people in and help them get situated and everything. I could go on with the immigration stuff. I'm going to put that off for another day because I actually don't want to talk about that right now. I'm more interested in talking about the LGBTQ stuff because the topic of immigration is a much larger topic than what I'm willing to cover today. We will go over it at some point. I just don't really want to do it right now because I have way too much to say about immigration in this country. So, as you might have known, Florida has passed an anti-drag ban so extreme it could ban all pride parades. The bill is so vaguely worded that pride organizers are also already worried about celebrations this year. Where is this it? Yeah, this is it. As used in this section, the term government. Trying to get to the language that is where it's the worst. Maintaining a licensed premise that admits a child to an adult live performance in violation of Statute 827.11. Violation of this constitutes an immediate serious danger to public health, safety, or welfare for the purposes of some other law. They may issue a $5,000 fine, a $10,000 fine, exposing a children to adult live performance. Used in this section, an adult live performance means any show, exhibition, or other presentation in front of a live audience which, in whole or in part, depicts or simulates nudity, sexual conduct, sexual excitement, or specific sexual activities as those terms are defined in something other. Lewd conduct or lewd exposure of prosthetic or imitation genitals or breasts when it predominantly appeals to a prudent, shameful, or morbid interest is patently offensive to prevailing standards in the adult community of this state as a whole with respect to what is suitable material or conduct for the age of the child present, and, taken as a whole, is without serious literary, artistic, political, or scientific value for the age of the child present. That is a lot in one segment. I'm going to attempt to break it down a little bit. Adult life performance means everything that they just said, right? So anything that depicts or simulates. Now, what do you mean by simulate? That is a great question. What does simulate mean in legal terms? Well, who the fuck knows? Because it doesn't matter. That term is not a legal term. Simulates is not a legal term. It is a term used to give broad appearance, right? It is there because the simulation of sexual excitement could be as broad as to incorporate the old wolf from cartoons that went awooga. Because that could be a depiction of sexual excitement, right? It could be a simulation of sexual excitement. And if a cartoon could get fined $10,000 for doing it twice, just saying. Also, lewd conduct. What do they mean by lewd conduct or lewd exposure? This means that having a dildo in public, whether it's yours or not, just having it, like somebody could walk by your car, throw one of those suction cup dildos onto your back window as you're driving. You don't notice it. You get pulled over. Boom, $5,000. And I'm just being nice here. I'm not taking this to the extreme where if you have a pride flag, because it would not predominantly appeal, it would be patently offensive to the prevailing standards in the adult community. Well, if you happen to live in a place that is predominantly like Amish people, a car would be offensive. Just saying. B. Knowingly means having general knowledge of, reason to know, or a belief or ground for belief, which warrants further inspection or inquiry of both the character and content of any adult live performance, the age of the child, a person's ignorance of the child. Yeah, basically that, like, anything under the age of 18 means that that kid cannot see anything that could be classified as an adult live performance, which, as we already know, is anything. To quote a Democratic representative, this bill is a blatant attack on free expression, parental rights, and choice. I agree. What are you afraid of? What is it about drag queens that terrify you? Pray tell, why are we censoring artistic expression? I know, my dude, but yeah. So, this is followed immediately by Florida removing the unanimous jury requirement for death sentences. And if you can't see the thread between the two of those, let me spell it out for you. In this case, a jury of 8 people, or juries are 12 people, and it used to be, in order to get the death sentence in Florida, which is stupid. Why is the death sentence even a goddamn thing? It shouldn't be. Except maybe for DeSantis. That's a different story, though. We might cover that later. If I feel up to it. My stomach doesn't take that story very well. It's really fucking disgusting. God, I hate his face. Okay, it's away. It's not there anymore. 12 people in a jury. If 8 of them vote for death sentence, then the death sentence can be given. The recommendation must be for life without parole if there are less than 8 votes for death. If the jury's recommendation is for life without parole, the judge must impose that sentence. Judges, typically speaking, are given leeway on how they punish people, whether that be less time in jail and a heftier fine, less fine, more jail time, community service. The wiggle room there is typically left for a judge's discretion. But no, not anymore. Now the judge must deal with this. So if you're, in Florida and you happen to be gay or you happen to be trans and you just so happen to have a trans flag in a community that happens to not like you and you're brought up for charges and, the Florida laws being what they are, who knows what the fuck is in there, and 8 people on that fucking jury decide that you're not, part of their community, then 8 people out of that 12 could just kill you. Yeah. And as is being said in the chat, yeah, like there's some serious bullshit going on. Again, more travel advisory. Don't go to Florida. There's been assaults on medical freedom, academic freedom, censorship, arts, businesses. Florida is at the state right now. I would say it's like 1929 Germany. And I've already done a whole video on Florida's book ban matching 1-for-1 with the Nazi book burning previously done. So, just, be aware. Oh, in case you weren't already, yeah, fucking right, man. Imagine getting arrested for winking, because that could be considered performatively sexually arousing. And if you happen to do it in an area that there is a child, if you wink at someone, not even the kid, you could be, jailed. Shit. Anyways, so Canada has issued take normal security precautions for the US. Not it's fine. Take precautions. Some level of them. Yeah, more civil rights places giving travel advisories for Florida's. Ron DeSantis passing the anti-gay and now anti-drag bill. Let me see if I can get EU travel advisory US. Travel advice. No. I wanted international. No, that's the U.S. Embassy. God damn it. Why is this so fucking hard? European Commission. Travel advisory. Of course, now I can't fucking find it. Why is this always how life goes? EU issues. Travel advisory for EU to US. No. Fucking, I hate being in the US when I'm trying to search this type of shit. Because it's always impossible to find. Well, anyways, why am I on this? What's going on? Anyways, so yeah, that's kind of covering everything that I wanted to cover. just on getting whatever has been going on. Let me go ahead and check Twitter real quick, see if there's anything I need to tell you guys about that's happening right now. Not seeing anything. Trending. A lot of stuff for 420, some BuzzFeed, sports stuff, people joking about SpaceX exploding in the sky. We already did that. Okay. Well, I think in that case, I'm going to cut the stream here. It was nice to catch up. Hopefully, I will be back next week. We will be doing a more regular current events stuff and then into the debate review. The debate review that we're going to be doing next week is Riley Grace Rochon versus Demon Mama. I found this. It's 2 hours long. I don't quite know what this is about. Some Twitter drama and stuff, it looks like. What is gender, maybe. But yeah, so we will be talking about that later. So, and then we'll be doing some more Dyson Sphere program as well. So with that, I will be leaving you guys. It has been wonderful to see you. I hope you have enjoyed this short, but hopefully densely packed recap session as I have been away. And there has been plenty for us to talk about. Mental health is a rough, cruel mistress. So I will talk to you guys all later. Have a wonderful